everyone in here have a
Yeah.
yeah
Right.
Yeah.
Fill the brain
Thank
short
you.
circuit.
brain fart to the 9,000. Anyways, okay.
Blooper.
You got our B-roll going.
B-roll.
As I always say. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Geek Branch podcast. I know it's been about a week or two, but we got some exciting stuff to talk about. Today we're going to be talking about the one, the only Sonic the Hedgehog. That's right, there's a lot going on in the world of Sonic, and I made sure to bring along my two guys who are always there with me, the one, the only, Walkin'. And then, he's always been with me since day one, always can count on him, Novell. And as I said, we are talking about Sonic Prime. That's right, Sonic is in its 30th anniversary, and he is getting a new Netflix series made by none other than Man of Action Entertainment, who has made Ben 10, they've made Generator Rex, a lot of cool things. They're the showrunners. And then Wild Brain Studios, they've made a few interesting shows. They're doing the animation. So we're talking about that. We're breaking that down. I'm more of the bigger, probably Sonic fan out of the three of us. I'm not like...
The last time I played Sonic was like in Sega.
It was in Sega, yes.
Like
the
it
last
was
time.
literally that was the last time I played it.
What, like as in like on the Dreamcast or the Genesis or something?
Like
The last time Sega had a console for me, yes. Sorry,
2D. It was. I never got to the 3D version. Sorry.
That was a while back ago, but hey, they still make 2D Sonic games. Sonic Mania is a blast, but I know you don't know anything about that. But as I was saying, Sonic is on its 30th anniversary. They may have not played Sonic in a while, but at the very least, they do know the iconic character. It's like not knowing who Mario is. You kind of know the character. It's impossible not to. I'm going to kind of go over just a few bullet points about basically the series and kind of stuff that goes along with it, so we can kind of dive deeper into it together.
You got some ammunition with them bullet points.
I got some ammunition with them bullet
Load
points.
that clip in.
I got it going.
Just make sure they're not hollow now.
Make sure they're not hollow.
We want to give our customer service.
Make sure they got rings on them somewhere.
All right, so going to the web browser. So basically, after a seemingly premature announcement back in December 2020, Netflix has officially announced Sonic Prime. Just as I mentioned, it's a new 3D animated series, and it's going to have Wild Brain and Man of Action alongside them, and it's going to premiere in 2022. It's going to have 24 episodes, and it's going to be a new multiverse that rests in Sonic's hands. And it's not just a race to save the universe, but a journey of self-discovery and redemption. It will appeal to kids and to legacy fans such as myself. So with that, it sounds like they're trying to make Sonic storyline a little bit more mature again, like they did back during Sonic Adventure Battle 1 and 2. Unlike what we've seen before with Sonic Boom. I don't know if y'all guys have seen Sonic Boom, but that thing looked like a joke.
Was Sonic Boom, was that
what
the
was
last of the animated series?
Yes, that was the one where they put Knuckles on like freaking steroids or something.
Yeah, Beefy Knuckles. Yeah,
Beefy Knuckles.
Beefy Knuckles.
Yeah.
And they gave Sonic a scarf.
It's that one Rip the Echidna.
Yes. You haven't seen that? Here, let me pull that up.
It's like I've never actually watched it, but the memes, of course, continue on forever. In fact, I think that was something we're gonna get into later on in this episode. Is when Knuckles was recast for his voice role, wasn't it?
Knuckles hasn't been. They haven't talked about who's doing his voice yet. They haven't.
He was
confirmed.
recast recently, like I think like a year or two ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So they haven't like recasted that guy yet, but
For
they've
Prime,
been
yeah.
right. So here, let me show you what it looks like real quick. Just 1 second. And
Get Beefy Knuckles on the screen.
there's Beefy
What
Knuckles.
Flying hell.
He's like 3 times the size of everyone in
Let
forever.
me find a way.
Well, I mean, obviously
This guy found the way.
What the heck?
the way, of course, had to have been to the gym because he is swole.
Yes, this one is well, not only the gym, but he also found a dealer for something. That's for sure.
Gotta get those steroids going.
Because that dude is monstrous. Anyways, so the interesting thing is, one of the writers for the series has already kind of talked about it on Twitter. He is Duncan Ralu. He confirmed a couple of things on Twitter. He revealed that, like the IDW comics, Sonic Prime will be set in the video game universe. That was created by the Sonic team. He also mentioned that he is not averse to seeing a few Sega crossovers other than just a bunch of the other Sonic video games. So maybe Sonic becomes a Yakuza, or maybe we'll get Sonic Super Monkey Ball. I don't know.
Let's not.
Hey, the Sonic Yakuza thing actually sounds like that would be a funny episode. Just imagine him.
Yeah, just go commit seppuku real quick.
You're right.
He would probably
see
see
characters gets pulled into the arcade,
Yeah.
and then we get to have that weird, wacky episode. Let's just not.
It would be pretty funny, like having him singing karaoke with some of the characters from Yakuza. I've been playing that game recently. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, what do you get when you combine these two things together? Gintama?
Oh.
But yeah, it would be like Gintama, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, let's not do this.
I mean,
skip that.
So I've read the comics a lot when I was a kid. So I'm a big fan of Sandy Acorn and her crew. If you don't know who that is, there was also a Sonic animated series. The one after the little bit more kidsy one, they kind of did a more serious take. And Sandy Acorn and that crew wasn't really in the video games. So this news kind of disappoints me, but if he's more willing to go over to other Sega crossovers, maybe he's more willing to go into the comic books, which is what I'm really hoping for, because that was a really good storyline. Sonic and Sandy were actually a much more serious couple than him and Amy. Amy's the pink hedgehog who is annoying as hell.
Pink Ranger, got it? Okay.
Yeah. So
Don't be
Sally,
like
of course, Sally, of course, everybody knows she's a princess, and so eventually there's some really interesting storylines where she becomes the queen and he becomes the king, because they eventually defeat Robotnik and they get to bring peace around the land. And so you kind of see Sonic get a little bit older and kind of like he doesn't want to be the king. He wants to be Sonic. He wants to go do his own thing. He doesn't feel like he's fit for that role.
Free.
So it'd be kind of interesting seeing this Sonic that's going through redemption, going through these other universes, maybe seeing these what if scenarios with these other Sonics and maybe learning things from them. And I also think that solo Sonic, the Sonic that we're starting off with, he will be by himself at first, and he'll kind of run into his friends along the way. Obviously, by the sounds of the plot synopsis, he's really screwed something up, and he's probably the cause of this whole multiverse thing. Probably something between him and Dr. Robotnik goes wrong, and he has to fix everything.
He pissed off Jim Carrey.
He pissed off Jim Carrey.
They just pissed off Jim Carrey.
That would be really funny if they had an episode where they brought in like the Sonic movie universe.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Wait,
I think,
the first rough draft of them, or the
No,
the final product. We'll need the horror story from that.
the one where it looks like Sonic's been sniffing cocaine?
If they do, if they do, I want it to be them like him freaking out and being like, okay, let's leave this universe real quick.
Well, no, I would like to see my homage to the movie universe from this series would be a flashback to Skinny Robotnik, which would be Jim Carrey's Robotnik.
Right, yeah, which would be funny. And then Sonic can make some sort of comment like,
Haven't I seen you before?
well, just more of a joke about him being so dang skinny.
Right, as opposed to big egg that he is.
Big egg. So along with this announcement, some sad news came about. So we had the Sonic voice actor that's been doing it for over 10 years, Roger Craig Smith, announced that he will not be returning as the Blue Blur. Now, he's not just Sonic's voice. This dude does all kinds of voice work. He is known for doing Captain America. He's done Ezio from
the Avengers Assemble.
Really?
Yeah.
You did Ezio from
He did
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, he did him every single game that Ezio's been in the series. And he's done a lot of voice work. He's on up there with Troy Baker and others of that caliber. In fact, they did the Avengers video game together. I mean, the voice acting was great. The game, maybe not so much. But then also the Amy Rose actress, she admitted, Cindy Robinson, she also said that she would not be coming back.
The voice of Tails.
The voice of Tails as well, Colleen O'Shaughnessy. She confirmed, unfortunately, that she won't be voicing Miles Prowler. If you don't know who she is, she's done a bunch of different characters, Naruto characters. I would have to go look, but she's done a lot. Like,
Yeah, she's major for English dubs.
yeah, she's major for English anime dubs, like he said. But finally, there is one voice actor a lot of people were worried about because he's been doing this thing for nearly 18 years. That's right. The voice actor for Dr. Eggman himself, Mike Polak, confirmed that he will be returning for the role of Eggman. He actually had a few interesting words to say about this whole situation because people have been really cryptic about this. So I'm just going to pull this up real quick. Just 1 second, fellas.
So since we have a little bit of a downtime, going back to the comics, if you don't know, basically IDW or Dark Horse have gotten a hold to all of your favorite childhood things and made them into comics. Power Rangers has its own comic book line running. The prequels, Darth Vader.
That's Boom Comics.
Yeah, it has its comic book running. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and of course Sonic, amongst other things. So if you do want to go and kind of reconnect modern Sonic with your childhood and see a little bit of a darker, as well as more, I guess you could say, realistic tone for something so fanciful.
Hold on. So when you say like darker, what are we talking about?
Not so dark as in like
Knuckles just beat somebody in the alleyway.
No,
It's like
there's some
steroids that they
pretty
didn't
dark
get?
stuff. Speaking of Knuckles, Knuckles' dad microwaved him as a baby. Okay,
Wait,
yeah.
that.
I
is,
don't. Okay, obviously you guys know by now that I don't know anything about Sonic, but you're telling me that he microwaved his boy.
There's no good way of describing what happens with Knuckles.
So basically, there's a short-lived comic of
What do you
Knuckles.
think he was, like a bag of popcorn? Make him grow bigger?
So-
He was not going to turn into Terry Crews overnight, okay?
Well, I mean, something had to be done to get him to that size. But regardless,
So Knuckles' race actually comes from like a chicken from an egg. So Knuckles' dad, Locke, he tells him about how he has a premonition about his son fighting against a powerful foe that he couldn't beat. And in order to prevent that, Locke secretly took Knuckles' eggs and subjected him to chaos radiation, effectively turning Knuckles into an emerald-powered mutant. What's worse is Locke never bothered to tell his wife what he was doing to their kid.
Oh, shit.
so yeah, he's kind of a science experiment. Is the best way of thinking about it. Like,
Which would explain, maybe that's the Knuckles from Sonic Boom. And
yeah,
that
that's
would
what I'm
explain-
saying. Something had to be done to get him to that size, and that's where it came from.
Yeah, there's some really bizarre.
So what you're telling me is that he didn't go into the zero gravity training room with Goku and
No.
work out.
No, he didn't get
He
a
got
shonen.
he got put in a big ass
Yeah.
microwave.
He did not get a shonen buff. He got the X-Men answer.
Oh my
You know?
god.
He gotta mutate that child.
I mean, they've had Tails become a Titan. He's had Sonic kill his alternate universe, mutant dad. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy
The
stuff
comics get
Yeah.
Microwaved his son out.
crazy, but it's worth checking out if you guys
They're-
want to take a different spin than just the video games.
I'm more of an Archie Comics Sonic guy. I loved when Archie Comics was in charge of Sonic personally.
Anything IDW touches, I'm pretty happy with. Even though, once again, it does take some weird turns.
Yeah. Probably most of that weird stuff, like I didn't look, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the microwaving Knuckles was probably by IDW, to be honest.
Yeah, they get crazy.
Anyways, so the thing that I was
Let's gloss over.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Continue.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going.
I mean, I would hope that you have the thing pulled up by now.
Yeah, I had it pulled up a while ago, but that's okay. Here we go. All right, so what Mike Pollock had to say. He said, "You know what they say, the more the merrier. You've not heard the last of me as Dr. Eggman in the Sonic video games. Kindly prepare your ears accordingly. If you guessed otherwise, surprise. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to stock up on lotions." Now, that's not really anything to really worry about. It's the thing that he said underneath. He said, "On a personal note, I know you will want to speculate about what happened and possible casting choices, but please bear in mind that in real life, actors' careers are steered by auditions, callbacks, bookings, and rejections. It's a bit more complicated than choosing sides for kickball. So, everybody's being kind of cryptic. I don't know why he had to put that out there, but there are a lot of people that are very upset about a lot of these actors suddenly disappearing. I think he's trying to point out that Sega's clearly trying to take this in a different direction, and it's not because those people did something wrong or they're upset at those actors. They're just looking for something different, I think is what he's getting at.
If Prime is going in a completely different direction and we can expect really strong changes in the characters, then perhaps the simple answer is that the current actors that they had for the last decade do not have the voice profile and the, I guess you could say, acumen to play the new roles for certain characters. Like if we get a serious Tails, I mean, like I'm not saying that Tails is going to end up sounding like Rambo here, but if we get a serious
Tails,
if
it's the Titans Tails, you know.
Right. So maybe we might need to recast the voice actor for Tails to display this more serious tone, maybe a deeper voice. You never know. So this could be why these people did retire, because the character's direction is completely different than the experience they've gained voice acting for this character in the last decade.
Of course, it could always be what Hollywood likes to do. So since this is being also produced by Netflix, it's obviously going to be a bigger budget than what Sonic usually gets, other than what we got from the live action movie. So maybe they're wanting to do the thing where they hire more well-known people. So they already got Ben Schwartz, who does Sonic's voice in the live action movie. So maybe they're wanting him to do his voice in the video games and the series. It wouldn't be too far-fetched. He already did voice work on DuckTales and other series. So clearly he wouldn't mind doing that.
I don't know about that, just because the heart of the fan bases for shows like this, just kind of like with the Ghost in the Shell Netflix series, tends to come from a dedicated fan base. I think that it is easier to pull them back by bringing back the original voice actors than it would be by pulling in star power. But if they're not aiming for that, if they are trying to open up for a new audience, then that could be the draw, is that they're looking for more star power to get more people invested.
It could be that, but they did mention that they're trying to make the longtime fans happy too. So you would think that they wouldn't try to go that route, because we see what happens when you do that. You saw how pissed off I'm a big Scooby-Doo guy, and a lot of people who went to go see Scoob was pissed off that they recasted Shaggy. I mean, he sounded terrible as Shaggy. He did not sound like him at all.
Yeah, after so long, of course, having consumed that type of media for most of our adult lives, most of our lives, we tend to be in the audience range of 20 to 30. So we've had a decade plus of Sonic, Scooby-Doo, Mario. We know these characters by voice.
Right.
Like you could literally play a sound bit and you could tell me who that was and where it's from 9 times out of 10. That's the culture that we have. We're fans. We're geeks. It's just what we do. And so when that gets changed around suddenly, it causes a lot of confusion.
Now, one thing that I was thinking of, so recently the voice actor who did Sonic's voice back during Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 actually talked about the situation. He's a different, it wasn't Roger Craig Smith that did this voice. His name is, hold on one second, switching. Let me see, where's his name? I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. There's so many of them. Ryan Drummond. So Ryan Drummond said, "I wish I could say yes, but we don't know anything yet. You know as much as I know. We don't want to get kind of bogged down in this conversation topic, but I don't want to have any trouble in telling everyone. My agent did contact Sega today, so hopefully there will be a conversation. We'll see what happens after that. There's a lot of factors that people don't realize that are in play here." So, I mean, if he's willing to have his agent go speak out to him, maybe it's not them looking for a big star power name. If he thinks that he has a shot to actually get his role back, maybe they're trying to go back to the Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, because when it came to the 3D Sonics, a lot of people loved those first 2 games. Those were the 2 big games. I mean, there's some other big ones, but Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 was easily two of the most popular 3D Adventure Sonic games.
So, I mean, based off the evidence that we currently have, I believe the situation to be this. Not only is this announcement from Sega relatively new to us, the consumers, but it may be quite new to the people that were going to be getting cast in these roles. I think that perhaps in the last week to 2 weeks, it was thrown out that this was coming to be, and they were looking for basically the casting calls for the roles in this new show for Netflix. And a lot of people looked at what they had wanted, and some people just said, this isn't in my wheelhouse, so I'm not going to go for the auditions, or I'm not expecting a callback. And then others of the people, as him, for instance, he thinks that he can still fill the role. So he sent out his agent to contact Sega and say, I'm wanting to audition, or I want to be on that list for taking this cast. So I think that perhaps a lot of the confusion here and the reason why things are so cryptic is just because they don't have the ability to give definitive answers yet.
Right.
I think that maybe if we give it another week or two, perhaps we will see that these people have a pretty fair understanding of where they stand and why they made the decisions they did.
You would think that they would know by now, though, because if the series is coming out in 2022, I mean, usually these shows, you usually have the voice recording done at least. I mean, they're right around that range when voice recording starts. So I would assume that we would, at the very least, hear soon who they're planning on casting.
Some form of update, at least to kind of get an idea of how far along they are. But I kind of like Novel's take on that whole scenario. Like, I completely wholeheartedly agree with what he was just saying. Granted, I'm really not really the person to be speaking because I don't know much of Sonic, period. But based on, everything that's being laid out, that's kind of how it portrays to be. You know what I mean?
Right. And do you know if this is going to be using that mocap animation style? Because then you need the actors early for it. But if it's not, they could be dubbing later, or they could be doing the voice work a little bit later in the production.
That could be why it's taking so long.
Studio Wildbrain Studio, whatever. They've never done anything like that before.
Okay.
They've done Transformers Rescue Bots. They've done Max Steel, that really terrible Mega Man Fully Charged series. They've done some 3D animation, but nothing with mocap. It would be new for them, for sure. And it wouldn't really be in Man of Action's wheelhouse either. They've never done really mocap type projects. The facial
capture animation thing, yeah, okay. Yeah. So if we don't have to worry about that, then it could be that they have, they're going to be pushing back the voice work just a little bit here. And we're at the very beginning of that initial casting for it.
Right. I'm just surprised I guess they decided to kick things off for 2021 being, Sonic's 30th anniversary by announcing this. And it may have been, in my opinion, maybe a little premature if they didn't already know the voice actors, but, they're probably excited. Apparently they have a lot of stuff they announced throughout the year. Maybe we'll be getting a Sonic Prime video game to go along with it, and maybe it'll be good, because sometimes when Sonic has compilation games that go alongside with series, they're not so good. Like Sonic Boom games weren't so great, but maybe this they'll put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah, I mean, we would hope, right? It's this anniversary. Another big thing about that is at the same time, they obviously weren't planning on making this announcement to begin with, because the original one was a leak from Twitter, wasn't it?
Yeah. Back in December, that one of the Netflix Twitter handles accidentally announced it early.
Right. So this could be just them, catching up to themselves because of that mistake.
Yeah. Well, Netflix is very bad about leaking stuff. There was an interesting thing that came out recently when the big old rumors came out about Legend of Zelda getting a live action series on Netflix. Apparently, it was in the early stages, and the fact that Nintendo found out that leaks were already happening, they pulled the cord, because Nintendo and Sega are two very different companies. Nintendo don't play about no leaks. So, they were, maybe Sega would have been just as hard about it if it was much earlier in the game, but it does show how different those two companies are, and Sega did used to be one of the big three. I would have loved to have gotten a Legend of Zelda series, but we already saw a animated Legend of Zelda series, and we don't want none of that again.
Yeah, it's been erased from memory.
Yeah.
Nightmare fuel. Thank you very much.
If it wasn't mentioned in this last moment, I would not remember.
I'm sorry.
Like, have you repressed that from your memory?
Yeah, I tuned in and tuned out almost immediately.
Did you?
It's not worth mentioning.
Did either one of y'all watch Sonic X?
The old cartoon from like 2011?
Yeah, the one where the song goes, "Gotta go fast, Gotta go
Okay,
fast.
I actually
Gotta go
do.
faster.
I slightly do remember that.
Yeah. No.
Sonic X. Yeah.
That was Fox. Was it Fox for kids?
Yeah. It was 4 kids.
4 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually on TV quite a lot. My little sister came up watching that.
Yeah, it was probably when we were. It came around when we were probably like 12 or 13, I would think. Yeah, we were at the very least preteens when that was coming out. So I think that was around about time when all these voice actors had came around. So a lot of the younger generation after us really grew with these people, whereas I grew with Sonic Adventure voice actor and the Steve Urkel. Steve Urkel, if you don't know, he actually the guy who did Urkel did the voice of Sonic. He was his voice actor. A lot of people didn't know
if
that.
you don't remember that, yeah.
Yeah, Urkel was, if I remember correctly, he was the first
beat
voice
somebody
actor.
in a race. Did I do that?
Did I do that?
That guy had a lot of range. Period.
Yeah.
Just even in his own, or even in the Urkel show, he had a lot of range.
What was that? What was that adaptation of like the Stefan?
Yeah,
Stefan.
When he scientifically concentrates
yeah.
cool and then takes the dosage, hits another Professor episode where he transforms into Stefan.
Hey, I'm Stefan.
Cool Steve.
Cool and smooth and shit.
Yeah.
We're not as strong into the Sonic lore or the other two are, so continuing this on, it's going to be basically me gushing over the series as they try to come up with something to say along with it. So instead, we're going to switch gears and go into our next topic. So I hope you enjoyed what we had to say about this. I know it's a little bit shorter of an episode, but I'm really excited about what they have in store for Sonic. I really do. They do hope that they go in the right direction and they make some good choices for Sonic Prime, along with a very, exciting video game proposition with this whole thing. Anyways, as I always say, thank you for letting me and everyone in here have a
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fill the brain
Thank
short
you.
circuit.
brain fart to the 9,000. Anyways, okay.
Blooper.
You got our B-roll going.
B-roll.
As I always say, thank you for letting me and everyone in here get to the root of their geek culture with you.